Hello, everybody. We have so far 14 attendees on this webinar. Welcome. Welcome and thanks for your participation on the Lean Global Network. And thank you also, Marek, that you accepted our invitation. I know Marek for years and he is true Lean enthusiast. And I strongly suggest you, if you don't follow him on LinkedIn, to do so, because Marek is publishing every week, maybe one or more posts about some interesting things. And today, Marek will tell you more about how important is to come back to the roots, to the basics. Please, everybody, use the Q&A or the chat to place your questions. And in the end of the speech, we will come to it. So enjoy, and Marek, the stage is yours.
Wow, thank you, Veronica. Thanks a lot. Fine, so I just directly jump into my presentation. Let's see whether it works. Okay, not yet. Oh, here we are. Veronica, just give me a sign that you can see my screen. Okay, fine, perfect. The boring principles that will make you rethink your lean strategy. That's a long name of the keynote, and it includes also the word boring. I'll do everything in my power not to make it boring, so I included also a few jokes inside. I hope they are jokes. I like them a lot. And okay, Veronica, I see that you don't see it in presenting mode, right?
Yes, I see it as a PowerPoint. So
okay, so let's quickly change that. I guess now it works.
Perfect. And thanks for all the fingers before. You are amazing.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, okay, I don't want to show you too many slides in forward, just keep the secrets for myself. Yeah, what I'm going to speak about today, main message of my presentation is that we have improvements and we have improvements. That means that not all the improvements are equals. And I'm going to tell you why. But before that, I'd like to know you a little bit. So please write into the chat from which industry are you coming from, or what is your area of expertise? Are you from manufacturing, construction, development, consulting? So at least I like to see a few of them. So maybe I'll be able to adjust some examples I'm going to use within my presentation. And okay, I see in Q&A, there is manufacturing, automotive. Okay, maybe a few more energy. Life science, cool. Life science, okay, not many examples I have with that. Utility, energy, great. Machine building, healthcare, consulting, manufacturing, administration. Violent, amazing. Healthcare, manufacturing, VG. Manufacturing is lean management. Great. So I see majority it's manufacturing, flexible packaging, operational excellence, construction products, university. Okay, so a little bit of everything. And I'm happy to see many people from manufacturing itself, because I have a few examples directly from manufacturing, but I'll try to give you also some other examples from other industries. So once we have that, another question coming from my side, and now I'd like to focus on the video, and I hope it's working. And this is an example where I would like you to look at it and think about what actually has improved. Where, in your opinion, is the improvement in this situation? On So again, please write it into Q&A session or into chat window. So where do you think is the improvement? What happened? Maybe I can play it once again. On the last side, you see two operators disassembling the jigs from the heat exchanger. On the right side, you see just one operator with certain fixture to disassembling the same heat exchanger. And okay, we have a few things. Okay, so where exactly do you see improvement? We have one answer. Less handling is required so that only one person is needed. Okay, and the ergonomics may be better. Alignment, less movement. Okay, so just give me a few more. Where do you see the improvement, or what has improved in the after scenario? Okay. Okay, even. So is it about safety, ergonomy? It is about operator utilization, see less handling. A jig has been added to help the first operator instead using two operators. Thank you, Bruno. I'm sure you recognize this example. Okay, so we can spot several things in here before and after scenario, and many people would spot improvement. Some of them will not say that this is improvement. Some people would say it about ergonomy. Some people say it's more about safety. It's definitely usage of operators. Many things when we observe that, but I'm here to be a little bit provocative, and I'm going to tell you that there is no significant improvement. I'm going to show you an example or speak a little bit about it. What you've just seen has no significant importance regarding improvement as a whole. And yeah, first thing is to be provocative. But before I tell you the why I think so, let me create a little bit of drama and not tell you the example immediately. And let me tell you something about myself shortly, because it's highly connected. As Veronica already said, I'm a huge enthusiast about lean, and I have a great experience with an amazing company, which is Violent. And for the last 2 years, I was working as a head of production in a greenfield plant for producing heat pumps in Slovakia and Senica. And it was from greenfield through the construction technology up to the serial production. And I was lucky to experience that because there was like very intense in 2 years' time to learn a lot about manufacturing, about real life in production, about hiring and training people, and fulfilling all the deadlines. Before that, 4 years, I worked as a lean coach for Violent, meaning being responsible for lean improvement in several plants. And I was one of the lucky guys because we were obliged and we had to even travel to different countries to observe different locations for production, to do on Gemba walks, valley walks, and to see many improvements. And that was the first thing when I start to notice, okay, what actually we are observing in the plants. And then the idea came, okay, so what should be the main purpose of the Gemba visits or improvements? And if you imagine yourself being in any production facility you've ever visited, and if you just spend there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or even 2 hours walk through all the areas within the production, what actually do you spot as a first? Where, if you are there, what do you see as an improvement? Can you even be able to see the improvements of production? And we had that opportunity. We were traveling, we were visiting, we spent 1 hour, 2 hours in production, 3 hours. And then at the end of the day, the plant director came and asked us a question, okay, what have you seen? Do you see any improvements? Do you have any suggestions for improvements? And at that point, and that time of my career, I realized usually when we are asked questions like that, our answers go in a 1 or 2 direction. It is about cleanest. Is it a clean production? So it's about 5S. So does everything has its place and its name and mark? Or is it about safety? Is it about ergonomy? How what's the structure of the production? How technology is placed? If we wanted to be a little bit more advanced, we would go for flow. So is it flow visible? But this was more highlighted, more advanced thinking. And I realized it's happening not just to me to observe only those things on the surface and not being able to see deep inside the processes. I noticed that also in other people, in other companies, in other benchmark visits. So if people were not very skilled in a particular technology, they were mainly observing only easy things. And they were mainly observing easy things because they were taught to do it. So if you imagine yourself being in the first lean training, speaking about 7 ways, speaking about 5 ways I already mentioned, those things are so simple to understand that they create a lot of enthusiasm and conviction. And now we know how this production should work, and now we go and we will preach what we've learned, and we are going to do the lean implementation. But what actually we see is just the surface. And maybe you are aligned with me also in this statement that we will never stop to learn. So maybe we will become older, but we probably will not be so much clever. The older we are, the more things we know that we don't know. And that was also my realization that, okay, if I want to be better in lean, I need to go a little bit into the basic, into the boring stuff, into the things that are not so sexy, that are not so easy to sell, that are not so easy to grasp, but really go to the root of production itself. And then I realized that it's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. And the key from my perspective in really understanding the lean is really understand the production systematic and production itself, and really to learn to see the things from the different perspective. On one side, yeah, also 7 ways, for example, give us the certain perspective to see. But to create more significant improvements, we need to go more into the details and more into the production itself. And doing a little bit research, and you know by yourself, if you want to learn something about lean and you want to go much deeper into the roots, you end up with Toyota production system. So there is no other way, because all the other is just derivation from the Toyota. And when I was studying how the production system works, there one guy pop up out of all these nice old young not nice old Japan senseis, and that guy is Shigeo Shingo. And in the beautiful book, A Study of Toyota Production System from the engineering perspective, but also in the book Zero Quality Control, he describes the production mechanism. So he says that, okay, if you want to really know the production, you have to look at it from the 2 perspectives. One perspective is process. So how material is changing to become the final product. So how is it changing in shape, or how is it changing in quality? So that's actually the process flow. What transformation is happening? Actually, what is the value creation for the final customer? That's one thing you see, and you need to know. The second thing, it's on the horizontal level, is the operation flow. So those are all the action that needs to happen into production in order for the transformation to become transformation. So these are all the works of operator, all the works of the machines, all the robots we have, all the transportation mechanisms we have in production, all the supporting work that needs to be done in order for process to happen. So there are 2 kinds of improvements. You can improve either process, or you can improve the operation. Unfortunately, we mainly see the improvement of operations only, because at the beginning of our lean journey, that's the first thing we are able to observe and see, and it's easy to teach. And also the example I show you with the heat exchanger and 2 guys then to be replaced by 1 guy because they installed one fixture, it's again just the improvement in operation. Then the question is, what should be done in order to improve the process. And I have another example for you to demonstrate this operation and process improvement. And I'd like to show you a cobot. As you can see on the video, there is a cobot inserting a glue on the side panel of, could be a boiler, could be heat pump, or any white goods you can imagine. And yeah, the cobot comes to the other side, and on the left side you can notice the operator comes and he inserts or she inserts insulation into the glue. So this process has three steps: placing a side panel, inserting a glue, and then placing insulation in order to create the connection between insulation and side panel. And this is a great example. I love this example because it shows us two things. It shows us that the cobot function is possible in manufacturing, so cooperation between the robot and the operator. And it says us that many things can be automated. But on the other hand, all the improvement that is done only about the operation, only about the activities that needs to be done in order for transformation to happen. Because real transformation that happens here is increasing or changing the product when you have a sheet metal parts which is painted, and then you glue or attach insulation on it, and then you have a new product, new subpart. But this improvement says us nothing about process. It says us about how we improve the operation. If I wanted to improve the process, for example, maybe we can think about, is there another way how to attach insulation into the side panel? And maybe we'll find out that we can use like kind of adhesive tapes. So, you know, you have already glue on the insulation, you just put a foil down, you press it together and it's done. You don't need to wait for the glue to dry and anything. And the main point is, if I change the process, I don't really care about the operations. Because if I replace the process of gluing to the process of using the adhesive tape, I don't need a cobot, and I need another skill of the operator. And then I think completely different about safety, about environment, about ergonomy of that operator, and so on and so on. So this is a great example how to optimize operation if we don't want to, or we have no time, or there are another cases that we cannot improve the process itself. And I like to give you also hints, which was a great learning for me, and I haven't seen that from the beginning. Now I see that, and I'm really looking forward other things I will find out in my next career and other projects I will work on. And that says that first we should focus on improving process. And first, we should focus on the value engineering. So how the product we are producing can be redesigned while maintaining quality and reducing cost. Once we do the pre-work, the number one, then we should go to number two. How can manufacturing of the product be improved? So then I look and try to improve the work of robots and machines and operators, and looking for MTM analysis and doing 5S, for example, and so on and so on. But I need to have kind of both things, not just one. And yeah, it is difficult. It is difficult because improving process, it's not so easy to teach. Probably you need to study, and you need to be great enthusiast in technology. So, for example, when things heat, they expand. So we need to have a certain knowledge of chemistry, of how things work, in order to change the way you produce the product. You need to be working in R&D, for example, or in design of the products, and study how things can be done in certain ways. That's the way how you can influence the improvement much more than when you do just observing and following on operations, for example. So hard stuff is to do the process. Easier stuff is to do the operation. And just to speed up a little bit, again, now if you look at the example again, you see there is no process happening actually. there is just after process operation, because the heat exchanger came out from the oven and you just dismantle the jigs. So as Shinko says, great operations cannot compensate for poor processes. And this is not the worst thing. The worst thing will be a self-realization, actually. And that is that if you focus on improving operations, who focuses on improving processes in your company? If you're focusing on Gemba walks, on 5S, on MTM analysis, who is focusing on design change? Are there any involvement in that? So in manufacturing, we know design for assembly, design for manufacturing. How important is that in your company? Because it has a great or significant importance on the lean processes overall. And how I learned that? Actually, I learned that when I changed the industry. For over the last 1 month, so it's 1 month and 2 weeks almost, I'm working in a construction area, in a construction development business, and trying to do the lean in construction development business. And if you want to do lean in construction, everyone tells you that, okay, we are not Toyota, we are not automotive, we don't produce on production lines. We produce always in a different area. We produce A-type products, and we produce in a constantly changing environment, I mean weather, and we do all this work with the always changing personnel. So we don't have fixed personnel, but we have many subcontractors and contractors. So how can you do lean in this if it's completely different from the assembly lines and when you do on the production line under the one roof? And the point is that it is not so different, because in production you should focus on processes and operations, and in construction you do actually the same. You focus on product, which is the process, how you build a product. You may have in the design phase, you may do in the design phase a lot of changes how you will do the construction in the end. So it's one huge part which has a tremendous influence over how linear processes are in the way when you produce. And then on the other hand, you have the coordination of operations. So you need to manage all those subcontractors and contractors on the construction site on a daily basis in the best efficient way so they can produce the product. So yeah, the environment is maybe different, but there is one thing that is in common. There are processes and there are operations, and there is a huge variability which you try to reduce by lean thinking and putting the importance on the process and then putting the importance on the coordination. So again, last thing, I go to Shinko again, and he says that to optimize the production efficiency, thoroughly analyze and improve processes before attempting to improve operations. And in any industry you are working now, so think about what is your process, what actually you create for a customer, what is this transformation you are producing to customer, and then think about how to optimize the operations. So my last message before Q&A session is don't skip the leg day. So you need to work on both parts, as processes, so operations. So that's it from my side. And if you have some questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you a lot, Marek. And I guess that we have one question from Jonathan. Do you feel like there are some lean tools that are robust to focus on both process and operation improvements? For instance, value stream mapping seems primarily geared towards operational improvements, correct?
Yeah, I wish I know about such a tool, and I wish it would be value stream mapping, but I think value stream mapping is not sufficient enough for that. We really need to have a deep skill in technology and chemistry and engineering in order to create the product changes. And I'll give you an example, like how many of you know how to ride a bicycle? I guess everyone knows how to ride a bicycle, but how many of you know how to repair a bicycle? Now you say it depends, yeah? what can maybe if I have flat tire, I can do it, but can you do other stuff? And then I ask you again, how many of you can improve the bicycle? So it's not like because you are in the system and you can observe how system works, is that you really know how to repair it.
Yeah, I hope that Marek answered you, Jonathan. I empower you all. Please write your questions. We still have 5 minutes. And during the time, I will ask you, Marek, also. I saw you mentioned more times the Shingo. What does it mean for you, Shingo, in your life? Why it's this in your focus area?
Yeah, Shinko is my undercover mentor. So if I go for some inspiration, I go to his books, because somewhere I read that if you want to have new ideas, you need to read old books. So yeah, the oldest books I have are probably from Shingo. And during my career in Violent, we also spent some time on the Shingo assessment and working Shingo transformation model. So I think from that period, it's somehow stick with me. So if I go for inspiration, I go to this guy.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks also for reactions. So feel free to write any feedback to Marek. He will be happy after this speech. Jared mentioned, what have you found to be the best way to look for process improvements, not just operational improvements?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah, I love that question, because the best actually tool in the lean toolbox is Gemba, like be on the shop floor. But here I want to stress out, like, to be there for a long time. It's not like 1 hour walk. So yeah, I think Taichi Ono said that you need to create a circle, stand into production and look and stay there for hours, for half a day, and observe how things interact. And I think this is the best way, just to be there and observe how things really work together. Being in a silence, in a backstage, and observing really. Because that's the other extreme is you go on a benchmark visit to, I don't know, to Tesla, and you spend it 3 hours. I can tell you in 3 hours you see nothing. You don't know the context, you see the operations. But if you spend there 6 hours or 2 days or 3 days on one spot, then you see what's actually happening. I think this is the right way to do so.
Were you doing that during your production manager period? Did you found the time to do this? Because this is very the question of the people. I would love to, but I don't have enough time.
This could be also accumulated. It doesn't have to be like in 6 hours in a one strike, but it could be like 1 hour a day, or depends also where your office is, how you can observe production, and how much you spend overall in production. I think the role of a production manager or construction manager is in production. Yeah, sometimes you deal with conceptual stuff, but you need to be placed there and see how things really are. So in cumulative time, I was doing that, but honestly, I was not there standing for 6 hours. So I don't know anyone who can do that, who can do that.
Thank you. Thank you also for Jonathan's reaction. Very thought-provoking. I guess that Marek exactly wanted this, to a little bit provoke you by this topic. It's great. Thanks for all of the fingers. If you have any other comments or questions, feel free. There is a last minute remaining. But anyway, I'm sure that Marek is really willing to answer you when you will contact him on the LinkedIn or some personal message. Thank you a lot for everybody who was with us. And thank you one more time, Marek, for your thoughts and for your really involvement, personal involvement for Lean.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.